Ta-da! Here she comes. Here she comes.
Hi everybody, this is our Saturday video number 50. 50! That's pretty amazing, isn't it? I can't believe we have made 50 of these and people have watched 50 of them.
And you still watch them?
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. However, I've noticed it's becoming a bit of the Paul show because there's lots of questions for Paul today. I think you could just take over. You could be Jewel Man.
Jewel Man?
Jewel Dude. Real estate dude.
Yeah, I'll take that.
So he's secretly enjoying that he's so popular, everybody. He loved getting all the questions. So what have we been doing? We've, I don't know what we've been doing. We've had a walk today.
When did we do our last video?
God, ages ago. Before we went to America even, I think.
A lot has happened.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Our lives are very busy.
Yeah, so I'll get started on the questions and no doubt we'll chat as we go through. Well, maybe I will chat. I just haven't got many questions. You love it, don't you?
Throw in a question for Megs, will you?
I'll just make them up.
Someone throw her a bone while we're doing this.
Tracy Fieldhouse said she's looking forward to this, which is nice. Rosemary said, yeah, you're back. Tell us... Oh, hang on. Hang on. Don't know whether I'm in order. I feel like I had more questions than that. Okay. Rosemary said... This is a question for me. Rosemary said, tell me about your day at One Girl, Do It in a Dress, and your new ambassador role. Okay. So... Before it becomes the Paul show, I will tell you about Do It in a Dress. Do It in a Dress is a charity that I did last year where we raised money to send girls to school in Sierra Leone. It was amazing. Last year, my team, which includes a lot of you guys out there, who donated 5, 10, 20, someone donated 500, like it was insane, wasn't it?
That's dollars, not thousands.
$500. Every $5 was great. Anyway. So we did this thing where we did lots of different things wearing a school dress. Like I had a taco night in school dresses and I got my gym to wear school dresses to teach aerobics. And we're
Husey on the radio.
Yeah, we got Husey and he's committed again this year to be an ambassador. So it's pretty exciting. So I went there to learn more about it. And Chantel and I, Chantel's the girl who created this charity, we're going to make a video because yesterday I learned how the whole charity started and like how the name One Girl came about. It's very good, so that'll be on a video soon. I don't want to tell you the whole story now because I want her to tell it to you. Well, and it's her story and it's amazing and I love being a part of her charity. It's great. She's very dedicated.
So have you answered the question?
Anyway, so it was great. Nina, another girlfriend who I originally met from Facebook and YouTube, came. So we're doing this together and hoping that lots and lots and lots of you will be part of our team. What I want Paul to do, I'm going to put him on the spot now, I'm kind of hoping that he will do an auction in a school dress, providing the vendor...
I told you I would do one, but...
You have to check with the vendor.
Yeah, because I've got to respect the vendor's wishes, and if the vendor thinks that I'm fooling around and I'm not putting my heart and soul, because that's their single biggest asset, and the focus is distracted from me doing a good job, then they might be a bit pissed off, One Girl or whatever. That's I haven't got a problem. Well, I haven't got a problem with it.
So we'll be looking for some excited donations.
We need a deceased estate where the vendor's not living anymore.
You know what though, I think anyone who got cross about that, it's not going to change the price you get. And it actually might create a bit of buzz.
You just don't know, do you?
I don't know.
People can be funny.
People can be funny. They can be funny.
Particularly when you're dealing with their biggest single asset. Yeah,
true. Here's a question for you, Mr. Real Estate Guru.
Let's try.
Megan, I'm hearing that renting a home is not a bad option with the way the housing market has been.
Where does this person, what's her name?
Tina's in Chicago.
Chicago, right.
So you've got to remember the different markets.
So you've got to understand I know nothing about the Chicago market.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I'm hearing that renting a home is not a bad option with the way the housing market has been, and maybe it's different in Australia. I'm going to read the whole thing. There are no property taxes to pay and the owner is responsible for all repairs. How do you look at renting versus buying? And is it favourable in today's market? Our neighbour who studies the market feels that the freedom as a renter is superior to home ownership, even though he is a homeowner himself. Do you feel there are more perks as an owner, or the owner is paying taxes, home repairs? Are we really ahead to own a property?
So whether you're in London, or whether you're in Chicago, or whether you're in Melbourne, the answer is long-term home ownership is superior. However, there will be periods in the economy where it would be more economical and better value to rent. For instance, in Australia, there's a state called Queensland, and southeast Queensland, Brisbane, Vegas, that has been particularly hit for many reasons. Well, she's a bit higher up.
Yeah, I know, but she's still in Queensland.
But why has it been hit? It's been hit because tourism's been decimated because of our extremely high dollar, so there's less tourism, and so because there's less tourism, there's less construction, and because there's less construction and less tourism, there's less jobs, and so because there's less jobs, there are less people to pay mortgages and less people wanting to buy, and it's a vortex going down, and property values have significantly come off, like maybe 30, 40, 50% in some instances. So therefore, right now, in Queensland, it would probably be a good time to buy.
But not to sell.
Not a good time to sell.
No.
However, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, it would have been a great time to rent, because if you'd paid hypothetically $1 million for a house 3 years ago, it might be worth today $600,000, so you've had a capital loss. And if you've rented, that's quite right. The landlord pays all the maintenance and all the outgoings and all the taxes.
So what would you expect Chicago, like we don't know what would you expect to answer about Chicago?
Okay. So let's take Chicago for the last 50 years. Tell me what you could have bought a property for maybe 30 years ago. And you'll find that the market will continue to rise. I mean, if you look at any market, the stock market, or you look at the property market, from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, it has escalated. However, there will be troughs and there will be peaks within that market. Try and pick the trough, try and pick the peak. And so maybe if property values are peaking out and they're relatively very high and you're not going to be in the market for the long term, I would probably agree rent. However, if the market's been decimated, like so many areas of the United States have been decimated, and property values have come off and they are at a low, then, and you're buying...
As long as you don't blow all your savings on crap.
But if you're buying for the long haul and you can afford to keep the repayments going, then I would buy. Because, you know what, incorporated in this is many other things. For instance, in Australia, there is only 2 assets that you can have capital gains tax free, and that is your principal place of residence and superannuation. So don't get me started. But I also know
you've got a superannuation question coming up, don't you worry.
In America, I know that repayments on your home loan are tax deductible, which is not the case in Australia, and paying paying your rental would be out of net income. So do you know what? I can't say to you right now here on the camera today exactly what the answer is, but what I can say to you that if the market has come off a significant way, and I know in the United States, Bernanke is stimulating the market, and I know interest rates are all-time low, and I know inventory, stock of housing is at a low, and I know the market is slowly recovering, then maybe it's not a bad time to buy, particularly if you're going to own it for the next 10, 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, okay.
Does that answer the question?
You sound very intelligent to me. He does, doesn't he? You impress me when I listen to you talk.
Keep going, flattery will get you everywhere.
No, he does. Don't you agree, everyone? Because when I listen to him, even though he's my husband, I'm always impressed by your knowledge and the way he can sort of tell you about the politics in the States and what's happening and who's stimulating the economy. And I enjoy hearing that.
What's the next question?
Even if you are getting more questions. Nina said...
People like to make money.
She said she loves hearing us both. She's getting that in, but...
Ooh, you're so politically correct.
She didn't say but, I'm just saying that. I'm really keen to hear Paul's pearls of wisdom on superannuation and property. Just check how many minutes we've done so far because...
It's about to go.
Hang on. He's coming, don't worry. He was just resetting the camera. Here he is, everybody's favourite Paul.
I'm doing all the work today.
Yes,
well,
you are.
Nina, this is what I think.
Did I give you... I haven't given... Because I just read Paul a question. A couple of tips for the week. Or small achievable goals. She wants to hear about possibilities. She finds that inspiring.
Well, there's 2 things I would say there. There's such a thing called a concessional contribution, which is age-based, but up to $25,000. So you can put in $25,000 a year into your fund, and your husband can put $25,000 a year into his fund, and that is a deductible expense.
Hang on, Nina's not working right now, so can her husband put $25,000 from his wage into her fund?
Yes. But
was that a good question?
But more than that. But more than that.
Yes.
There's non-concessional contributions, which means if you have money, if you inherited money, or you had spare money there.
Spare money.
Spare money. Well, you know, it happens. You can win Tesla.
Sounds fun.
You can put in a non-concessional contribution of up to $150,000 each.
Wow.
And you can do 3 years in advance. So that means you could put $450 in for your husband and $450,000 in
with that
for you, Nana,
money, yeah.
and that's $900,000. But you can put, if you exceed your concessional $25,000, then you can go over and above, and you can do 3 years in advance. So bear that in mind and try and accumulate.
And the benefit of that is
that when it goes into your fund, well, it's going to depend on the Labor government with their election promises about taxing superannuation at 15 cents once you trigger a pension to retirement.
But isn't it not taxed now?
At the moment, they've going in with an election promise, and they've got to win the election. It's a very slim chance that they might win the election.
Oh, Julia.
Anyway, what I would say to you, if you can continue to make the contributions without diminishing your lifestyle too much, now is a good time to buy a property. You know, the real estate market...
An extra property?
Buy and put it in your super fund.
Okay.
Absolutely. And the reason I say that is because the market came off about 10%, other numbers, and the market bottomed out sometime between May and August last year, and the market is recovering, and the last quarter in March went up 5.1% here in Melbourne. The clearance rates are hovering around 71, 72%, 12 months ago around 60%. Interest rates, we haven't felt the full traction of 2.75%. At the moment, there is no talk about rates going up. There is even less talk about rates staying the same. Most of the economic commentary is that rates are going to continue to fall, and we are seeing a diminishing of inventory. So really, pick a good property, buy it in your super fund, and own it for life, because it'll stand you in good stead. Thanks, Nina.
Paul's tip of the week.
Thanks, Patty. Good Bert.
Jamie Fields said,
with Jack Dyer.
Because we're making this on Sunday, and he said, doesn't matter, it's Saturday somewhere in the world.
Our Saturday video is generically named Saturday video, but we do them randomly.
Yeah, but it is Saturday in the States right now. Good point. Prab Dip.
I met Prad Dip. We call him Prad.
Don't we?
Yeah.
We called him Crab
Do you know
Dip,
what?
I thought one day.
No. A very nice young man. A very nice young man.
Yeah, you were impressed.
Yes, a very, I said...
Well, I had a coffee with him.
Who did I say he looked like?
I don't know.
Yes, I did. He sort of looks a bit like George Clooney. You know, he's got a very nice smile.
Crab Dip.
And a very confident manner.
Really?
Yeah, and he's smart. You know, he's very smart, and he knows what direction he wants to go. See, that's half the battle, isn't it? You see,
you were impressed.
Having a purpose and wanting to get out of bed.
You inspired him. He wrote to you because you inspired him.
Yeah, I think that's really nice.
Yeah.
He has a burning desire to succeed in the property area, and he's given up other things, and that's what he wants to do.
Do you think he could potentially be a Castro and Gilbert employee?
Yes, I do.
That's nice.
Back burner.
We can make videos with you.
Go Prad Dip.
He says, he's asked us a fun question, not a worky question. What are your 3 favourite holiday destinations?
Only 3?
Yeah, I know, seriously. Because there's different things for different things. Like, I always love America, or the United States. They always laugh. Americans laugh when I say America, because they never call it America, they call it the United States. But I love LA.
Yeah, but Megan likes a lot of places, because she likes New York, and she likes
Chicago, LA, Minnesota, South Dakota,
Santa Barbara.
Oh, yeah, everywhere. I love everywhere.
But so,
really, I do love America.
Apart from the USA.
Well, we love Mykonos in the Greek islands, and we love Capri in Italy.
Do you know what? Here's one. I went to a place called, I really like Colorado, and I like the mountains, and I like skiing.
Rocky Mountain, huh?
Yeah, and there's a very special place in Canada called Mike Wigley's, which is at Blue River. And about 30 miles north of Blue River is Alberta Lodge.
This is called Solitude Holiday that you had.
And they've got 100 miles by 30-mile crown lease on the bugaboos and the caribous.
If you're a skier,
and you go heli skiing. And you get in a heli and you go up and we were skiing up on glaciers.
You were skiing up, I was not. I was tripping around LA.
14,000 feet, but you go across there like blue ice. It's very spiritual. You think, Jesus, if this helicopter goes down, I'm dead. No one will ever find me.
Was that with Lockie? That
that is breathtaking. I want to go to Alaska, but up
skiing?
there just to see it. But that was really breathtaking. So that would be one of my number one places. That's a must see. I think. Yes, Capri is truly a beautiful place. There's very few places. There is nothing like...
I love Venice too. That was beautiful.
Sitting out on the terrace overlooking these breathtaking mountains.
Where?
Having a Capri.
Capri, oh yeah.
Having a Stella.
But Venice is so cool because it's like nothing you've ever seen before, just these water canals instead of streets. It's like, I cried when I saw that for the first time. I was so excited.
And where else is like that with all the bikes?
Amsterdam.
It's very similar.
Hello everyone in Amsterdam, Masha.
Mykonos is beautiful.
Yeah.
Turkey is beautiful.
Yeah.
Salzburg is beautiful.
Do you know where we want to go? We want to go to Morocco.
Chamonix. In the summertime, we went to Chamonix in the summertime. Oh, that was breathtakingly beautiful.
Swiss Alps?
Was that what in the French Alps?
French Alps.
Yes. Chamonix.
Paul was driving French. Hello. Hang on, what was I going to say?
Saint-Emilion in Bordeaux. Yeah. Gee, there's so many. I mean, it depends whether you want a skiing holiday, whether you want a shopping holiday, whether you want a theatre holiday, whether you want an action holiday, because there's so many things to do. Do you know what? I remember, this was maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, we were in the northern part of Italy in a place called Portofino.
I know what I was going to tell you too.
And we went out to dinner one night to this place, this beautiful hotel called Splendido. Look it up. And we sat on the balcony and the guy was playing the piano and the waiters were singing and it was a balmy evening and we were looking out, the food was beautiful, the wine was beautiful, and I said to you, how many other places are there in the world that we haven't seen that we're missing out on?
Maybe millions.
It was just beautiful. Like, you know, it was...
If anyone's been to Morocco, tell me about it. Did you feel safe?
So, gee, we're giving you more than 3 there, Brad Dick.
That was a bonus, wasn't it? Cheryl said she's missed us on Saturdays. That's nice, Cheryl Griffin.
Tune in, baby.
Shelley said, I know your answer to this. Shelley, just for fun, would you rather a puppy the size of an elephant or an elephant the size of a puppy?
Who's that to?
Either of us. I would rather an elephant the size of a puppy. So what do you do with a puppy the size of an elephant, for God's sake? How would you walk that? Imagine having to scoop up the poo on a walk from that.
It's bad enough dealing with them out in front of our house.
Elephant. Imagine a little baby elephant running around the house. That'd be cute.
Do you know what I hate? On Tuesday morning, it's bin day here where we live, and they empty the bins.
This is the pool that I live in.
They empty the bins
who you are going to
really early. Okay, really early, but not early enough before I go to work. So I usually go to work; they're not emptied, and people walk their dogs up and down where we live. And what they do, they always poo on our nature strip because we've got a nice lawn, and the dogs like a nice lawn to have a poo.
Karen will like this comment.
So they get their bags and they get the poo and turn it inside out and they drop it in our bin. And of course, you don't think about it, but then our bin sits in our garage, which is like another room.
They think they're doing the right thing, but in fact, it's gross.
24 hours. You've got dog poo in your garage. Dreadful.
Yeah.
No, definitely an elephant the size of a poodle. Definitely a poodle. No, yes.
Kirsten Lewis said, hi Megan and Paul, I know this question's probably been answered a billion times. Okay, Kirsten Lewis, I know this question's probably been asked a billion times, but how do you feel the law of attraction has changed your life? I discovered it through your Facebook page, through my Facebook page. Yes.
Can I answer this
first? No, and it has certainly changed, because you've got lots of questions and I've hardly got any. And it has certainly changed my life immensely. I just got a place in a directing masterclass at Melbourne Theatre Company. Congratulations, that's awesome.
And did it just happen? Did it just fall out of the sky?
No. And there were only 10 places available. That is awesome. Congratulations. That's really, isn't that great? But here's what I think about the law of attraction.
When preparedness meets opportunity.
Luck is when, yes, that's Oprah's thing. Here's what I think. I think the law of attraction is true. But I think it happens good or bad. And it happens whether you believe in it or not. Like, we bring things into our lives. Definitely. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
And sometimes even a bad experience can be there to teach you something. Well, that's what I like to think, because otherwise you can't make sense of anything.
Everyone has shit in their life.
Yeah, they do.
It's 90% is how you deal with it.
Exactly. And so Paul and I were discussing this earlier in the car, and we sort of said that I've said this before, but I always did the positive stuff. Like, that's how I lived my life. But it wasn't until I watched The Secret that I realised...
It hadn't been defined. It hadn't been defined.
That's when I realised I was creating my world. And when you become aware of that, you start to become more grateful, and you start to think about it more, and you start to think, gee, if I say that could be a repercussion, and you start to be more mindful, I think, don't you?
Yeah, well, I still am fearless and give anything a go, and nothing will stand in the way of where I want to end up. So as a young guy, not very old, I used to drive down streets when I was driving home from the gym, and I used to drive down one street in particular.
It was our street.
The street we live in now. And the reason why I drive down the street is because I loved it. I loved the trees, the way they cocooned the street, and I loved the houses. And the reason why I drove down that street every day was to reinforce that was where I was going to live. And
so you were doing it all along too.
And that's where we live.
Yeah.
And so therefore it was just how we operate.
Woo!
Whoa, geez.
That's our open fire, everybody.
That scared the shit out of me. Wait till you see that back.
But I do think you just need to be mindful and conscious. And I think
of good and bad.
Yes, and I think people need to think about their words and their actions and how they treat other people, because it's very important. And we all have people out there who are sarcastic to you, or rude, or hideous.
Zappers.
Yes, and then you look at their lives, and I think you can see that they're not happy people, because happy people do not do that stuff.
Happy people are happy for you.
As they said in Legally Blonde, happy people do not go and kill people. I'm going to sneeze. But...
Oh, right in the camera. Oh, right in my ear.
Isn't 6 supposed to be an orgasm? That made him blush, didn't it? How many did I sneeze then?
I think it was 7.
So what was I saying before? Oh, I was saying how happy people...
You're like Harry Met Sally.
Happy people do not do ugly things to other people. Seriously, if you're happy, you don't go and gossip about people. You don't go and do ugly things. You listen. You watch next time you're at a girls' lunch and they're sitting there bagging people, going, no, what about that person? They're not happy people. I'm telling you right now, without any doubt. Don't you agree?
100%.
Because I'm just not interested in talking. I like hearing people's success stories. I like hearing, oh my God, we're going on a holiday, or we're doing this, or I'm starting a new business, or I'm going to do this.
My children did this, or...
Exactly.
You know,
I saw a great sunset. Like a friend of mine did. I put a beautiful picture of roses on her Facebook. That made me happy. I like that.
We got a beautiful compliment today while we were walking around the tan with one of Megan's friends, and she said,
Nicole?
She said, "You've got really beautiful kids," and I said, "Thank you," because that is the ultimate compliment.
Yeah, it is.
Because the kids. Is
that from my sneeze?
Yeah, the kids are a product of Megan and I, and so therefore to receive a compliment.
Yeah,
that was really nice.
She said they glowed. It was very nice.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. So I think it's funny, you put a name to this behaviour, and someone's put a name to this behaviour, saying the law of attraction, but you know what, you don't even need to have the name. It's really, as Oprah says, you're responsible for the energy that you bring into the room. And it's true, because some people ring you on the phone, or some people walk in and you go, no.
I do think there are some random things, because I can't explain everything. You cannot explain why some hideous crimes happen or whatever.
But the point about it is that some people you will look forward to hearing from, and some people will energise you, and some people you can't wait to see them. Like, and some people, you just don't even answer the phone. You let it go through the voicemail. That's why.
I don't do that very often. Sometimes I wish I did. But yes, I totally agree.
Next question.
Just hang around with people that get you. I said this on Facebook the other day.
PLU.
I was just feeling very fluffy and lovey-dovey, and I said to everyone out there that watch my page and all that sort of stuff, that I'm really grateful to have you guys out there because I really like it. I like our page, and I like seeing other friendships develop. Like I like seeing, you know, someone will send me a picture that they've met up with another person in Amsterdam or somewhere, and it's fun.
PLU.
People like us.
Yeah. What's the next question?
Yeah, it's great. And so I am very grateful.
I've got to keep her moving along.
Well, you're going to have a whole lot of questions, so I just have to get my 50 cents within. Caitlin, hello. How are you? I haven't heard from her for ages. Iced tea or iced coffee? Neither. Probably, God, if I had to have one, probably iced tea.
Next.
What would you have?
Neither.
Can we put some
iced coffee?
Alcohol in it? Okay, Jen said, love to hear about your upcoming Europe trip. Where are you going and are you seeing any live shows? Okay, that's exciting. We did talk about where we love, and it is where we're going. We're going to London, and then we're going to, which was first, Capri or Mykonos?
Capri.
We're going to Capri, then Mykonos. Are we going to Rome on that trip or not?
Yeah.
And Rome, and London and home. Yep. So it's exciting. I can't wait. And Zoe has never been to Mykonos, so she's excited about that, isn't she? What are you looking at me like that for?
I'm not. I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah, so that's what's happening. I don't think we'll see any live shows unless it's on the way back through, because we have learned from very bad experience that if we go to a show, unless it's a matinee, when we first arrive in London, we fall asleep. It's so bad. I
remember one year we went to Phantom of the Opera to see a friend of ours.
I hope he's not watching this. Alex, hello.
Alex was brilliant. But what happened, we got there, and Zoe, we're a bit like the TAC commercial.
It was like the first second
night
day.
We were sort of, nodding off. So we go to the theatre.
And I've never met Alex.
Can you let me talk?
No, because I need to interject.
So Zoe was sitting next to this lady who, Zoe said, oh, do you mind if I have a look at your program? No, she didn't want Zoe to have a look at her program. She was quite, no. And so I look over about 20 minutes later after the show started, and Zoe had fallen asleep and she was laying in her lap.
She wasn't in her lap.
She had her head, let me tell you, she wasn't sitting up. Yeah, she wasn't sitting up separately. I think Zoe was dribbling, like she was so tired.
She's going to kill you now.
Oh,
but anyway, what I was concerned about was this was the first time I'd ever met Alex, because he'd watched, and he was like one of the leads, Raoul, in Phantom of the Opera, and all I was thinking was, oh my God, he's going to look out on the stage and see the whole family asleep. I was the only one who, I needed toothpicks as well, but I was determined I was not going to go to sleep because I had to meet him afterwards.
He's brilliant.
Oh, he's so good. Okay, Melissa, Megan, since I live, here's one for you. You'll like this one, actually. This is a very you question. Megan, since I live in the western suburbs, have you noticed that your side of on our side of town that people are being very careful with money at the moment in shops and entertainment as they are here on our side of town? And Paul, do you find people are scared to buy property at the moment with Julia Gillard in power? Everything is falling apart at the moment with Ford closing down and other big companies closing down and the super going down.
Yeah. So the first thing is, yes, have a look around. Doesn't matter what side of town you're from. The number of vacancies on retail is going up because retailers are finding it hard, because it is a well-known fact people are not spending as much. And you know what they're doing with their money? It's documented, paying down their mortgage. Because,
is that right?
Yes. So that people have been spending less on clothes, restaurants, so on and so forth, and they've actually been paying down their mortgage because that, like, when you said that Julia word, it almost puts a shudder up the back of your spine. It's almost like a swear word, really, isn't it? Do you know the Labor government last delivered a surplus budget in 1989? They have, what happens is the Liberal Party make the tough decisions. You've got to understand, you don't get something for nothing. And that's what happened in the Greek economy. If the outgoings exceed the incomings, the receipts, then you've got a really big problem. Okay.
He's coming back to continue that. Okay, so let's go back to Greece.
Well, people have got to understand whether you vote for Liberal or whether you vote for Labor. If the outgoings exceed the receipts, there's a problem in the economy. When the Liberals handed over the economy to Kevin Rudd in 2007, we ran a surplus budget. They had $45 billion in a super fund, and there was no government debt. You can't get any better than that. We now have $170 billion debt. We are running a deficit and will continue, according to Wayne Swan, who really, I don't think, understands what an economy is, for the next 3 years. So, you know what? If Julia and Wayne were the CEOs of public companies, they would have lasted 6 months.
So you prefer K-Rudd to...
No. K-Rudd's just as bad. I mean, there was a whole host of things. I mean, it's not, look, you drive Ford.
So you were saying that when he came in there was a surplus and they've wound it down.
Here she comes. She was getting me wound up. We had to re-splice. So yes.
K-Rudd.
Yes.
Economy. Greece.
Julia Gillard, or as Oprah calls her, Julia Gillard, which sounds something like it's got feathers on it and it flies.
Feel funny.
A Gillard.
Yeah.
Anyway, a Gillard. Anyway, look, the point about it is the last surplus budget was delivered in '89, and that's a long time. These guys can't deliver government, and what is really interesting about your comment is that people are nervous in the economy because of how they're running the economy. Well, the fact is they don't understand how to run the economy, and people have pulled back on retail sales, and retailers are struggling. And is the real estate market? The real estate market has been difficult, particularly in Queensland and Sydney, and other markets, of course, in Melbourne, and our market probably bottomed out. So what they're trying to do at the moment is stimulate the market. How? They're trying to say that everything's okay. You know, America's now settled down, no financial cliff. Barack Obama got another term. Greece is not going to be so bad. And here, we've had a very high Australian dollar, and they have reduced the interest rates to 2.75%. The Australian dollar's now come off. Good for our exporters.
Good for exporters, not good for our holidays.
You know, look, you've got to remember, you know, coal, wheat, wool, meat, you know, all of these beautiful exports, more attractive. And so our market in the real estate market is gathering traction and starting to accelerate.
So even though when we travel we like it when the dollar's high, in actual fact for the economy it's better when...
Who asked this question again?
That was Melissa.
It's a very good question because she's hit the nail right on the head. People feel less confident with a Labor government because they are so erratic. And
why has this happened with Ford?
Because
Ford Australia's closing down, everyone.
Well, there are multiple reasons why, but Ford's not the only example. Well, one is the industrial laws. You see, the Howard government had it perfect, and the Gillard or the Gillard government, the first thing they did was dismantle the industrial laws that the Liberal government had had in place for a decade.
Yeah.
And so it's more difficult and more expensive to employ people. So the net result is, on all of this, people at Ford might have been being paid a fraction more, but I think that is a very big price to pay for no job, because some of these people have spent their entire working life at Ford.
Yeah, they have.
And now they don't have a choice.
They're probably institutionalised.
I'm institutionalised. Every morning I get up, I have a shave and a shower, put a suit and go. We all become institutionalised in whatever it is we do. Those poor buggers don't have the choice anymore. And these are many of the reasons because of this dysfunctional,
fired up now.
Unsympathetic, unknowing, moronic.
Take it away.
Well, I mean, I could really go to town. But Melissa, you are absolutely spot on. Anyway, the answer is it'll slowly heal. I mean, never before have they had an election campaign
Are people scared to buy property at the moment?
Slowly coming back to the marketplace again. But, you know, there's been an interesting one. We've had an election campaign running for 9 months. Well, never in the country's history have any of the leaders. They usually pounce it and have a 6-week run-up campaign. Yeah. So, you know, Julia Gillard is trying to win the unwinnable election. You know, good for her. You know, that's a good spirit to have. She's an idiot. And she runs bad government, and they have made a lot of false promises, and what they have said to the electorate has not come true, And the result.
Would you say Labor people would be disappointed by her as well?
They have to be.
Yeah.
What about all the people at Geelong? What about all the people at Geelong? What about all the people at Geelong?
Correct.
They voted Labor. Has the government failed them?
Okay.
Bismally.
I'm just saying, because there's obviously going to be people out there who go, oh, she's Liberal or Labor, whatever.
But I'm saying, I'm not saying whether you vote. It's like, do you drive Ford or do you drive Holden? Do you know, like, what I'm saying is understand if it's not there, you can't ring it out, because that's what happened in Greece.
Yeah.
I mean, look, anarchy on the street. You know, go to Spain.
Come on, you'll
50% unemployment. You know, so the answer is bad government causes problems, and we've got a bad government at the moment.
Okay.
Good question, Melissa.
He could have just had that for the whole video.
Oh, it's very frustrating.
Kelvin, hello Kelvin in Texas. Kelvin's had a very icky week this week. Icky is really an understatement. I'm hoping I can share this. He hasn't actually said this here, but this week he...
Too bad if you can't.
No, I don't actually think he'll mind, because he had a friend, a girlfriend, not a girlfriend, but a very close friend, who was murdered by her partner, and she used to confide to him that he was awful to her, and he'd say, why don't you leave? And she still loved him, and she stayed, and now she's dead, and he murdered her in front
Kelvin didn't, the partner did.
The partner did, of course, in front of her children. I just can't even
Tough week.
imagine that.
Can only get better. Only get better, Kelvin.
Consequently, he's questioning religion. As we all do, you know, when bad things happen, you think, oh, you know...
The life of Pi.
Yeah. Yes. So he goes, hello guys, it's been a while. How are you? We are good, thank you. I hope you're feeling better too. I want to ask you guys about religion. I grew up sort of forced into Christianity and was taught to believe in God, but now that I'm older, I'm starting to be more open-minded. I think we all get to that point where you start looking at different things. I'm studying Buddhism at the moment. Do you guys believe in religion? If
Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path.
I did biblical studies at school. If so, what religion, and if not, why? Okay, here's my take on it. Yes, I grew up as a Christian or a Methodist or whatever you call it, but my belief is we're all the same. I've said this 1,000 times. I don't care if you're Buddhist, Jewish, Catholic, Muslim, whatever. I just think it's a matter of circumstance where we were born, and that's the religion that you've come into. It's not that there's one person up there who's going to just ban everyone else from coming up into heaven, although some people do say that that's the devil talking when I say things like that, you know, that we're all the same. Because some religions do believe that they are the only religion, which, you know, that's their stuff. I think we're all the same.
A bit like politics, really, isn't it?
I think we're all the same, and I am happy to be friends with anyone of any religion.
It's really, are you a good person?
Yeah.
And if you want to have a religion and something you believe in, that's a personal thing.
Yeah.
And it's really so personal that you don't need to force your view on someone else.
Exactly, that's so true. And is religion the same as spirituality, he said? Religion's kind of a... Hang on. Okay, is religion the same as spirituality? I think religion's like a format, almost. Whereas spirituality is almost like your connection. What do you think? Religion's like a story, or a Bible, or a
parable, or rules governing life's formula to live a good life.
But to be spiritual,
whether it is,
I think, is to be conscious and to be mindful and to think about what you're doing and
in the moment.
That's my definition.
In the moment.
Is that a good definition? Is that your definition, Kelvin? What do you think? I want to know. Tell me.
I mean, it's no good someone, you said you were forced into Christianity, it's no good someone preaching at you something that...
But
it's
weren't
like
we
water
all?
and
Like,
oil.
seriously, I used to go to Sunday school, all that sort of stuff. Like, we were all introduced to a religion of some description.
And you know what?
But I was never forced.
I used to tune out.
Yeah, I did.
Because it just didn't
There's
do
something
anything
about
for me.
being in a church that I quite like, though. There's a feeling that I quite like in a church, even though I don't go very often.
Connection.
Maybe. I like the hymns and the Christmas carols and stuff.
Anyway, I think you can question it all you like, and what it's a question of is what works for you.
Yeah.
That's all.
Exactly.
And
you don't have to convince anyone else.
No, that's right. And if you like something, then enjoy it, and away you go, and become connected and become conscious in the moment, and that's all you need to know. And no one else. You don't need to force your view on anyone else.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, I hope you're feeling better, Kelvin. And hope, you know, that your friends' kids are doing okay too, for that matter. They might like to see you if you were friendly with the kids as well. They might like to see you, a familiar face, you know, because I dare say their dad's not around, you'll be in jail. So, you know, it might be nice for you to pay them a visit and become like their little substitute, because you knew their mother's values and you could pass them along.
Stability.
Yeah. Okay, Kelly, my question is for Paul.
Bring it on, baby.
Kelly Davison. We are thinking about buying a crappy house in a 750 square block.
750 square metres, yeah.
I would imagine, in Bayside, Melbourne. Does it pay to demolish and rebuild or extend the existing brick dwelling?
So, this is a good question. And so the first thing is, if you build a new house, it'll be cheaper today to build it than it will be in 10 years' time. So therefore, if you're going to build a house, build the house that's going to last you for 20 years, because then no one could argue that building the house, buying the land and building a house that over a 20-year period would be a good thing, because it'll suit your family needs, it will go up, the construction costs today will be cheaper than they will be in 5 years' time or 10 years' time or 20 years' time. But don't go ahead and do it if you buy the land, if the cost of the land and then the cost of the construction, let's say hypothetically the land was $1 million and your construction was going to be 500, your outlay is 1.5 million, and then if you had to put it on the market and you could only sell it for 1.2 million, you have to be very cautious there. In other words, don't overcapitalise, don't spend.
So if they're doing it to flick on, you would say just do the renovation at the back, but if they're doing it for
make the decision,
term,
secure employment, meet the repayments, homeworks for the long haul for your family, that you can stay there a long time.
If you're going to knock down and build
If you're going to knock down and build. If you are uncertain about your future in the property, if the property is not the location ultimately you want, or uncertain about your employment, just do the minimalist renovation. One of the things that I see is people that overcapitalise and spend too much money on things that don't add value. Like, you know, hypothetically, I could go into a house and someone could say, look, when I poured the concrete here, I used 9-carat gold reinforcing in the concrete and it's the best. And I'd say, well, you know what? The average punter that comes in here wouldn't know what reinforcement you've used inside the contract, inside the slab, and it adds little value. Some people I've gone in and they've said to me, I've got 24-carat gold taps. Look at them, they're beautiful. And they've spent megabucks on the hinges and the taps and the fittings. And I say, if that's what you wanted personally because that's what you liked, I can never argue with that. Did it add value? No. So the things that add value in a building, a number of bedrooms, spaciousness and size of rooms, bathrooms, kitchen family area. So it's important to think about the house that is ultimately appeals to the widest market, so that it's the most saleable. Because, you know, I do see some houses that are very, very, very architectural, but so architectural that they would alienate 90% of the market because they're so different, you know, and it's probably like clothes, you know. So you need to think about that, and if you're in doubt, don't do it. Live in the house until you're comfortable which direction you're going to do. I mean, I remember I bought
And if you
houses.
do that little flip top, remember who can sell it for you when you're ready to sell.
I would love to. I remember I was buying a house years ago, and I thought, gee, when I went and looked at the house, and I thought, when I get in, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And you know what? I moved into the house, and I lived there for 6 months before I did anything. And then after 6 months, I thought, I'm not going to do any of those renovations because I really loved it. But
which house?
13 Cassell Street.
Ah, yeah, that was a cool house.
That was a cool house.
That was.
I was going to rip up the floor and
really?
Yeah, but you see, that's so. I hope I've answered the question for you.
So that was video 50. I think we better stop because we have talked for so long tonight.
Ta-da. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for saying hello. I'm just trying to think if I've got any videos to add to the end of it. I might have a couple of little snippets. We'll see. Hey, we're having today for breakfast. We caught up with a girl, Jenna Holmes, and if any of you watched the old Oprah thing when she came to Australia, Jenna was the girl who loved Bon Jovi, and she got to meet him at the Oprah show. And she's such a great girl. She's 23, and we love her, don't we?
And did Bon Jovi do this? No.
He loves doing that. But anyway, so we had breakfast with her and we liked her so much we've asked her over for takeaway dinner tonight and with the kids and everything. So that's going to be fun. Bye everyone. Have a happy week. And I'm about to make my video for the 39-day fitness challenge. Yes. Bye.